number 5, we have an EVP exercise. We expect that to run for 45 minutes for an hour, so that will be a sort of a dominant part for tonight. And so I'd like at least 4 or 5 people around the table to work on the exercise. Okay? And that's exactly what I worked through with this US company that's stationed in China with 3,000 employees. Before I start any formal definition, have you ever thought about what your dream company is? I want you to think about that. Is there anything here that's your dream company? Maybe it's not US company, maybe it's an Asian company. We'll come to that in a minute. But is there any company here that you think, oh, I perceive that a good company to work for? Remember, this is very subjective. I'm not saying that this is real. Okay? The Wall Street Journal, November last year, came up with a list of these companies as dream companies to work for. Better still, they ranked them. So I want you to think for a moment and tell me, what do you think, who do you think was number 1 on the list? Number 1 on the list. So individually, I can go around. Who do you think was number 1?
Google.
Google?
I think it's normally Google.
Yeah, normally Google. Okay, maybe changed this year. Maybe this is out of date. This is November last year. Wall Street Journal published. What about this table? What do you have?
Teach for America.
Teach for America.
I'm not sure which one is top on the list, but I would choose Apple.
Apple. Maybe Apple's on top now. This table would Apple. Pardon? Google. Okay. Does that mean you want to work for Google? I don't know. All right. So we have, this was November last year. Remember, this is changing all the time. You know, things are so fast in this time we're in. And Apple, Facebook, Department of State. Interesting, CIA is in their top 10. Okay? Now you must realise that this may have an American-US bias. Okay, is aware of the Asian companies. Let's have a look at I'll come to that in 2 slides' time. But what about the 11 to 20? We have Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was once thought to be a dream company, but now there's 19 companies ahead of it. When we talk about dream company, we're defining that in terms of a multi-attribute reason for why you want to work for that company. It's not just salary anymore. All right, what about in Asia? All of you probably have an idea. This is based on, and I'm not here to advertise anyone, but I just want to show this as a source. Okay, so I don't have any affiliation with this. Hewitt, they're a HR consulting firm, and they have the best employers in Asia. And across Asia, this was the list. Let's make it easy for you if I just show you the ones that were in China. So Neurosoft Corporation, Ritz-Carlton Hotels. So there's a whole range of companies here, even McDonald's, all right, TNT Express, H&A Group. Do any of you work for these companies? Okay, so let me show you the list from Hong Kong. It's a shorter list. Okay, EMC is in here too, US company. Okay, let's have a look at Hong Kong. Marriott, JD Marriott Hotel, Grand Hyatt, American Express, McDonald's. Excuse me for that's an overlap there, but we've got 4 main employers identified in Hong Kong. And what about Singapore? Again, we've got Hotel Ritz-Carlton at top, McDonald's again, American Express again. So very interesting that these weren't in the top 10 with the one in the Wall Street Journal, but in Asia. So it's horses for courses. A best company in one country doesn't necessarily mean a best company to work for in another country. Maybe there are cultural preferences and things like that, and that may come out tonight. So I just want to get you a start for what do we mean by best practice company? Here are the 5 questions that Hewitt and Associates asked. Here are the 5 questions, and I'll read it out to you because it's very small. Okay? Are we all aligned on the people investments needed to achieve our goals? Is there a compelling reason for me to work here? How many of you have a compelling reason for you to work at your current employer? Oh, okay, no one, okay. All right. will I be effectively developed and fairly rewarded? How many of you feel as though you have enough development in your current employer? Yes, we've got a little head nods here. Great, that's good. Do I receive timely and quality support? Am I trusted and encouraged to take ownership? Hands up if that happens in your organisation. Okay, right, so a couple of things here. Some of these questions may feel like it has a Western bias, and maybe it's a sign of the times, and maybe it's partly reflecting of the new generation too, as if they're looking for these things in the workplace. But whether you agree with these questions or not, the fact remains is it's companies in Asia, particularly other parts of the world, but definitely in Asia, with the high growth we've had and experienced the last 3 years in a number of industries, there's been a lot of pressure on HR. How do I know? In my current interviews of 648 China suppliers in the electronics industry only, this is another project I'm working on, interviewing 1,000 Chinese suppliers over 2 years. We've just interviewed 648. We asked them what their major challenge is. HR comes out number 4 after control, competition, getting more market share. Okay, HR, and we're talking about HR, nearly 10% of the 648 said it is their number 1 challenge. HR turnover, managing that turnover. And we all know in China, labour costs are going up. Okay, so that's the backdrop for why we may want to consider EVP. Okay. Okay, would anyone like to add to anything I said or ask a question at this point in time? Okay. So I haven't done much consulting in terms of EVP in organisations, but I've done thousands of interviews with organisations as part of research. Okay, but I have done a major consulting project where I've actually used this framework for a major US industrial firm that's based in China. So you'll get to do what I exactly did with their team, and I can show you the results of that process tonight. You have the results in your PowerPoint slides, so we can go through that tonight. Okay, let's move on. So that's some background. It strikes me that given HR, you agree that HR is a challenge? Hands up if you think HR is a challenge for your company. Okay. Is it a turnover challenge? Is it a skills challenge? What type of challenge is it for you?
More on the skills.
Okay. All right. And over here, anyone? Pardon? Turnover. You mean staying for 3 months average, or 6 months, or 12 months? Is 12 months a long time now, in your experience with the turnover? Every month. Yes, wow. Okay. All right. So we know it's a challenge. Okay, so what do you do? Do you just pay 10% more, 20% more? Do you do, just as can I do a follow-up question, do you have exit interviews?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, so you're learning about why people leave, and is there some common reason for why people are leaving, in your experience?
The package is the reason.
The package? Yeah.
Work pattern, like the shift duties, the transportation, yeah, all of them.
Okay, so it's convenience, getting to work and back, package, so it's not just monetary.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Okay, anyone else like to share anything or experience? Okay, so we know turnover is a problem. I know turnover is a problem because I'm employing 14 part-time master's level research assistants in helping doing this China Supply 1000 project. And it is really hard to motivate them and to keep them. I train them up, and some of them will leave after 3 months, or they'll commit to come to some expos where we do the interviews, and then suddenly the day of the expo they ring up, sorry, can't come today, I apologise, sorry for the inconvenience caused. Okay, so some of it boils down to just motivation. Okay, like that's the big puzzle, what motivates people, and it's different for different individuals. And that's hard to come to grips with sometimes when you have things to deliver, schedules to meet. okay, and service commitments to make. And then you've got to deal with this other side. So the EVP is some way that we can develop, formalise something about what the company stands for to add a bit more strength to that HR package. So we can help deal with that motivation issue, maybe another 5 or 10%. Okay, is there some way that we can give employees something that costs the firm very little, but the employees value very much? And hopefully the exercise tonight we can look at that. I appreciate your feedback. The knowledge in front of me is just infinite compared to what I know in this subject. So don't hesitate to talk, please. I really appreciate that. Defining your EVP, perception is reality when it comes to attracting talent. So what I want to do now, I've been talking for too long. What I've realised now is if I talk for 12 minutes, it's okay. If I go for 3 minutes longer and talk for 15 minutes, people start falling asleep. So we're at the 12.5 minute mark now. So I'm going to stop and ask every one of you to do a small exercise that won't be embarrassing. It's called an elevator pitch. Okay, so you must imagine that in the, you know the elevator pitch for selling a startup business, right? Hands up, you're aware of that? It's basically if you're an entrepreneur, you've got a startup, you're looking for funding or you're looking for help, you've got that elevator pitch in your mind for when you're in the elevator and you're next to Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, and then you've got 40 seconds to say bang, 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 and the opportunity may never present itself ever again. That's what we mean by an elevator pitch, okay? So you meet some important person that can help you with whatever you need. Okay? It could be the new job you're looking for. It could be a startup company you have, or an idea, a business idea you have. The same thing goes when you're in the elevator and you find that key person you've been looking for 6 months. What are you going to say to that person to convince them to work for you, for your company? So there are two great things about doing this exercise right now. In the process, you'll learn a little bit more about your next door neighbour in this room. Okay, so can everyone stand up now, please? Okay, you need to have a partner. Okay, one person is that key employee. Okay, one person in each pair is a key employee. The other person is your company. Okay, and you need that person to work for your company. Don't make up anything. Just say, what is it really like to work at your company, to convince them to work for you? And don't just say, how much do you want? Then add 10%. All right, what are you on now? Double it and add 10%. All right, so you have 1 minute to convince the other person to work for your company. What is it about your company? Not monetary, all the non-monetary attributes. Your elevator pitch starts now. Go. Okay.